to all my BYB Rambling Society members. Welcome to the first behind the scenes video of our pouring bench, I guess. Well, it's not really the pouring bench. This is the work table, and a little bit of a behind the scenes video on basically how I work and some of the things that I have to deal with as a silver producer when you're working in your own home. Now, you'll notice that the backdrop here is not the table. The table is covered normally, so we have this kind of just wipe easy tablecloth on there because this is our kitchen table, this is our dining room table, this is part of our home, but I just work from it most of the time, much to Mrs. Backyard Bullion's dismay, and it's always a bit of a challenge to kind of have the balance of life and work in anything that you do, especially when you work from home in the way that I do as well. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about that, talk about the table, show you some of the cool things that I've been working on as well. You know, what I have out on my desk at any one time. We've got some really interesting pieces out that I just have. You know, it's what I'm working on at any given time, any particular time. And today, this morning, I am working on getting some items ready to send up to the Edinburgh Assay office. So predominantly, yes, these are all the pieces that are going to be going up, as well as the other chest pieces that we've got in this box here. And what I'm going through at the moment is the ultrasonic cleaning process. So in this particular machine here, we have got some other chest pieces which have just gone through their little buzz process, which ultrasonically gets off any detritus, any dirt, any potential like rust particles, iron oxide basically, that might throw up issues with the Edinburgh Assay office's results when they do the assay test. That is one of the most important things that we always want to make sure that we get done properly, the assay testing. So yeah, it's basically it's a fairly easy process. You literally just have to put them in the water. I mean, what we also do is we'll do a visual inspection of all of these pieces and clean them as well. So these particular chest pieces are going to be completely sanded down to a mirror finish on the bases. They're not in any way finished right now. But eventually they will be. But things, of course, like the hearts here, this lovely ripple heart, just look at, I'm really impressed with this one. You know, we can't obviously sand that down to make sure all of the kind of particles that might be contaminating it on the surface. So this ultrasonic bath is the single best way to clean out anything that happens there. So that's basically what I'm up to today here on the table, and it really is just as simple as loading them into the water and then setting it for 300 seconds, and then off it goes, as you can see. So yeah, we'll just turn that off for now because otherwise the buzzing noise is going to get in the way and annoy me in the background. So yeah, that's basically the kind of process I go through to prepare items for the assay office. When I get them back at the other end, often they're not finished. So here's an example. We've got a really cool sleeping cat mold, which somebody commissioned the mold for, and I poured another piece out of it, and it just was awesome. So when they come back from the assay office, as you can see, I tend to just stamp the main part of where I then want the hallmark to go underneath. So you can see here the hallmark underneath the BYB logo. That's basically how I submit them to the assay office. Other things like these hearts here. So the idea will be to have the hallmarks on the reverse, the lower point of the heart here, if we're going to get it on camera, lower point of the heart here. So these obviously we don't need to stamp anything else on right now, and I always tend to prefer to stamp after the Edinburgh Assay office rather than before. And some people always ask me, well, why do you do that? Because if you make a mistake when stamping, then you know that's it, it's done. Yes, there is that to consider, but personally I would prefer not to. There's a few reasons for that. First up, the stamps which we use. And so here's my kind of stamping block, and you can kind of see all of the stamps in there. I've actually got a bunch of others as well laid out in different boxes because my little homemade stamping hold block thing doesn't, it's not fit for purpose anymore, it's too small. Now, the majority of these stamps are just absolutely fine, there's nothing wrong with them at all, but I have been told a few times by the assay office that on a few occasions there have been iron oxide detections within the stamps. So you can see when we actually stamp an item, it leaves obviously the indent, and sometimes that iron oxide can come into that little bit there, which is now mitigated somewhat by the fact that we've got the ultrasonic cleaner, which will blast out any of those little particles. But rather than risking potential, you know, contamination full stop, we just wait until after And you can see here, you know, some of these stamps will just naturally get a little bit of iron oxide on them over time. It's part of the process. It's part of learning how to work with metals and how to keep things in as close to a sterilized environment as possible. Obviously, the main concern is getting big contamination onto your silver in its raw form. So for a lot of what we do, we keep all of our silver in very sort of tight boxes with if you haven't seen already, you guys as members probably have seen it, the unboxing we did of all of the silver casting grain. It just goes straight from a big bag into these boxes. It's sealed, and then when I'm pouring, it comes out very briefly into the furnace, into the crucible, and then on we go. So there's very little chance of other contamination, sort of atmospheric dust contamination into the system itself, but it can rest and reside on these pieces at a later point. By the way, we have these coming up very soon, the 1 ounce Backyard Bullion logo bars, serial numbers 51 to 100. They will be out probably, basically the next step for me is going to have to sit down and antique all of these, which is a really lengthy and it's a dirty process. My hands always get horribly dirty, so I'm trying to get any filming that I need to do done before I embark on that, because it basically, the polish ends up staining my hands almost. My fingers get all dirty from that, so it's a bit of a frustrating process. It's one that I tend to basically just sit here. I've also got my PC, my computer right here next to me, and I tend to sit here at the kitchen table working with that in the background, and I can put some YouTube on, or I can put some TV on and stuff. At the moment, I'm going back through a fantastic old program, Scrubs. I just love it. It's hilarious, and part of my upbringing. I enjoyed watching it when I was younger. So yeah, that's kind of the behind the scenes on the stamping bench. So yeah, normally we don't have this tablecloth up. It's really a lovely table, this, and I'll just finish this video by telling you a little bit of a story about how we even got this table in the first place. So I'm a big fan of a big table. I love the idea of a big family kitchen table, nice wood table as well. And Mrs. Backyard Bullion and I were on the lookout for a nice table, and we were going through some old bric-a-brac shops. And if you're not in the UK, a bric-a-brac shop is basically an old second-hand shop with all of these old pieces that maybe have been refurbished or maybe have been upcycled and things like that. And we were in there, and on sort of one side of this shop there was this huge table with all of these things on it, things for sale. And I think everybody in the shop had probably thought, I bet the table's not even for sale. But then we saw a little tag hanging off it, and it was £150, I think. And the table was completely black, by the way. Completely black, dirty, horrible, could hardly see anything. And so we asked the shopkeeper, is the table even for sale? And he said, yes, but let me tell you, this table is a big, heavy thing. The legs are big, very, very chunky. Anyway, so he said yes, but the task is going to be getting it out and getting it to you. So we recruited my dad, who'd come down in his giant estate Volvo, pick it up. We bought it, 150 quid for a big giant table is nothing. Dad had one look at it and was like, I bet I can restore that. And he got some sanding belts out and various other things, and he spent the better part of about 3 or 4 days working on this table to restore this finish. And it's just wonderful, kind of lovely apple wood. I don't know quite what the wood is. We called it apple wood, but it just looks amazing. It's lovely. It's just so characterful. And at the first point when we had it, it was so pristine. There was no, you can see there's a bit of dirt on the table here. We haven't given it a thorough clean and a sand in a while. But, Dad was like, well, if you don't want it, I'm having it. I was like, Dad, your house isn't big enough. We need to have it for us. So we took it, and it's been with us ever since, and we love it. It's going to be our table forever. So, there we go. A little bit of history about the table, a little bit of a behind the scenes. So let me know your thoughts. Thank you again for being incredible members and signing up for these behind the scenes videos. Let me know what you would like to see, because I think the general gist of these type of exclusive videos will be down to you guys. So let me know what more you want to find out about. Let me know what you want to see behind the scenes of. Of course, I can do things on the silver pouring. I could talk a little bit more about the YouTube side of things, what it's like to actually run YouTube, or be a YouTuber. Not that I'm really a YouTuber in the truest sense of the word, but ultimately I am at the moment making videos semi full-time as part of the business. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what you guys would like to find out more of. Let me know your feedback on this. I hope this has been kind of a worthwhile behind the scenes kind of video for you guys, and a big thank you again for your support and continued support of the channel. It really makes a huge difference. So thank you all. See you on the next one.